Alaskan Native owned.
Oh, you are Alaskan Native owned. What does that mean?
It means that we have an incentive because of the Alaskan Native ownership. And it can't be protested.
So how do you do that? Because you don't look Native.
I'm not Native, no. Chenega tribe.
Chenega tribe. But they don't do the work you guys.
They don't do the work. No, they hire people that understand the market. So.
Mike Montgomery acknowledges that the Native American tribe Chenega, which owns the company, doesn't do any of the actual work.
There's a requirement for, like if we're the prime and it's 8A set aside, we have to do 51% of the work.
When the Undercover journalist remarks, that is just, quote, on paper, Mike Montgomery chuckles and says, well, yeah.
So 51% has to be performed by us.
On paper.
Well,
compliant on paper.
Yeah.
They're able to obtain contracts, sometimes worth up to $100 million.
A direct award, we can receive up to $100 million. And so they can't, there's no protests, there's no J&A. So, I mean, it's a way for a contracting officer to streamline his acquisitions without competition.
That's a cheating, beautiful really. Place to be in.
It's cheating, but...
He's calling it cheating.
So, Ricky, that's a good way of putting it, though. Cheating.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You may remember when we exposed how firms were taking advantage of the Small Business Administration's 8A programs, those programs designed to help the socially and economically disadvantaged small businesses compete in the federal marketplace to win no-bid federal contracts, only to pass most of the actual work to outside subs while pocketing enormous chunks of the compensation for themselves. Now, at the time, we caught executives on tape describing a fraudulent pass-through scheme while sidelining the very communities the program was supposed to serve. Here's a quick recap of our interaction with Melayne Cromwell, Director of Contractors for ATI.
So ATI would do 20%, and those subcontractors do like 80%.
80%.
Wow. I don't know if we want to share that they do all the work.
No, never. So we do about 20% of the work.
20%.
Right? And I tell you, pass-throughs are a great thing as well. So a lot of our subcontractors bid on contracts that were perfect in their industry, but because they weren't Native American, they wouldn't win it. So we bid on it for them. They became our sub, and it's an automatic win because of your Native American status. Isn't that exciting? Right?
So
a lot of people don't know that.
I don't think anybody knows that.
And
we want to keep it that way.
That's right. That's right.
We want to keep
Exactly.
it a secret.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Now, you may be thinking, well, this is a good thing. We're helping the minorities, but as you'll see in just a bit, that's not actually the case. For every $100 that goes to this program, only $7 of that 100 actually goes to the Native American. And this is a huge problem that people don't know about. We imagine the fraud, we have no idea the scale. Just to give you some perspective, the United States deficit is $2 trillion. This program is $100 billion. Kelly Loeffler, the head of the SBA, Small Business Administration, launched an investigation into ATI that very same day. Like every other government program rooted in DEI, the 8A program is rife with grift and fraud. And just 2 days later, Kelly Loeffler announced that ATI had been suspended. ATI and its referenced executives will not be permitted to bid for federal contracts. The work of our team did not only get ATI suspended, but after the full release, the SBA announced that it called the first full audit of the 8A program in nearly 50 years. We've terminated 20% of all firms participating in this, and we continue to review every contractor and contract to cut out fraud, waste, and DEI. Kelly Loeffler also posted about the 4,300 other 8A firms. To root out those bad actors, we've asked all 4,300 firms to submit 3 years' worth of financial documents, and the SBA has moved to terminate over 620 firms in the 8A federal contracting program that refused to turn over those documents. This was actually just last week, just a few days ago. In the wake of this report, we were flooded with more tips than I've ever seen in a single day. And two tribal businesses that seem to be mentioned an awful lot in all of these tips is Chenega and Cherokee.
I give you two companies that you need to also investigate. One is called Cherokee Federal, and the other one is called Chenega.
We understand that Chenega, that's in Alaska, receives $1.4 billion through this 8A program, and it only has 100 members. That's $14 million per member. We also understand that there may or may not be a United States senator we can throw her picture on the screen, who's opposed to all this reform. And gee, I wonder why. So we went undercover. At the Federal Small Business Conference, there were booths for both Cherokee and Chenega. First up, Mike Montgomery, the president of Chenega Architecture and Design, an interior design firm. Mike describes taking advantage of the same 8-day set-asides that the ATI employees described. Quote, they hire business executives that understand the federal marketplace. They don't do the work.
So what do you guys do? Michael Montgomery?
Yeah, we do architecture, engineering, design, and design build, and construction management.
You have many offices?
I have 4 companies. We do, yeah.
4 companies.
Yeah, but yeah, my back office is in Wharton, Virginia. Actually, our corporate headquarters is in Anchorage, Alaska.
Oh, wow.
We're Alaskan Native homes.
Oh, you are Alaskan Native. What does that mean?
It means that we have an incentive because of the Alaskan Native ownership with 8A and our ability to direct source contracts at a higher level than a traditional 8A.
Nice. So that's the advantage.
That's the advantage, yeah. Right now at DoD, we can do $150 million direct source. Yes, we do.
Automatically, there's no bidding.
And it can't be protested.
So how do you do that? Because you don't look native.
I'm not native, no. No, they hire business executives that understands the federal market space, but the board members are all Alaskans. And the Chenega tribe is what it's
Chenega tribe. But they don't do the work you guys.
They don't do the work, no. They hire people that understand the market. So.
Mike Montgomery acknowledges that the Native American tribe Chenega, which owns the company, doesn't do any of the actual work. So once again, it begs the question, what exactly is the purpose of these 8A programs? Is the intention just to force ineligible companies to split their profits with a native tribe which provides zero labor?
Do you subcontract once you?
I do,
yeah. But Mike, if we become underneath him like a subcontractor, we will do all the work, right? You just manage it to make sure the work is being done.
Well, there's a requirement for, if we're the prime and it's 8A set aside, we have to do 51% of the work. So 51% has to be performed by us.
On paper.
Yeah. Well, you got to stay compliant because you get in trouble otherwise.
So compliant on paper.
Yeah.
Now, Chenega is one of the largest culprits in this whole scheme, and the senator from Alaska is opposed to this reform, but some want to reform the program, including putting a cap of $100 million, and 5% must go into community, not into the pockets of wealthy white executives in Washington. One of the other reforms that are being proposed in Washington right now is to redefine what social disadvantage means, maybe also to include white people as being socially disadvantaged. That includes, for example, veteran groups. Veteran groups are at a severe disadvantage when it comes to these sole source contracts. 62% of the 8A money is actually only going to tribal firms. 7% in fiscal year 2024 going to veteran-owned firms. We also spoke to Ricky Longhurst, a senior account executive for Cherokee Federal in Oklahoma. He's not Native American, another Caucasian senior account executive for Cherokee Federal. And in this first clip, Ricky claims that Cherokee Federal, the business, takes 63% of the profits, while 37% goes to the tribe.
Are you a native?
I am not.
I don't have to be a native.
No.
Then.
And we just went there 3 weeks ago for our leadership summit, right? And so we got to go out to the reservation for the reservation, which we've done in the past, but it just kind of reminds you what you're doing. Think about it, as we give 37 back to the tribe for infrastructure, 63% goes back to the business. I know this sounds like a sales pitch, it's not. It's just, it gives us a purpose to what we do in industry.
Notice there that Ricky Longhurst also acknowledges that he is not himself a tribal member. They're never tribal members. In this next clip, Ricky describes that they're able to obtain contracts sometimes worth up to $100 million, and because they're native-owned, there is, quote, no protest, no justification and approval, so it streamlines acquisitions without competition.
We bring on subcontractors based on a need. based on if we have a gap we need to do. So that's all there is to it. Now, as far as the 8A contract goes, I know you guys have probably heard this before. A direct award, we can receive up to $100 million. And so they can't, there's no protests, there's no J&A. So, I mean, it's a way for a contracting officer to streamline his acquisitions without competition.
That's a
Cheating,
beautiful
really.
place to be in.
It's cheating, but
Ricky, that's a good way of putting it, though. Cheating.
oh yeah, for sure.
He's calling it cheating. No justification, no approval, no competition. We've got one more clip from Ricky here where he acknowledges that in order to make their 51% requirement on paper, they essentially just put a program manager on site with the sub. The undercover journalist asks, so that's why you have PMs, project managers on site to monitor, but the sub is doing all the actual work? To which Ricky replies, absolutely.
But Ricky, you do a lot of the managing, right, of these big contracts? You manage
I
it?
don't do that.
But people within Cherokee Federal.
Every contract has a program manager, a project manager. I'm the one out winning the work.
The fact that you have all these subcontractors, that's why you have PMs to go and monitor that. But your subcontractors are performing the actual, the contract.
Yeah.
So you have somebody from Cherokee on site, and you have the people that do the invoices, but the work is being performed by the subcontractor.
Yeah.
Again, our entire investigation into the 8A program and these companies that use it as a loophole has really exposed the entire program as just an absurd system that doesn't solve any kind of cultural disenfranchisement at all. All it has done is create a Kafkaesque system in which any company seeking to do business has to find a minority owner to even be considered by the government, at which point they just take the majority of the profits, give a fraction to its Native American tribe, and a fraction of it to the sub, while hoarding the majority of the wealth to themselves without doing any work. Why couldn't the government have just given the contract directly to the sub, such as Accenture, for $35 million, instead of insisting on sending $100 million to these tribal-owned middlemen? The taxpayer gets screwed. The sub doing the labor gets screwed, and worst of all, even the tribal members feel deceived and used. Here's a clip from the Susanville tribal members reacting to our coverage of what ATI was achieving with their supposed ownership. Tracy Lent fights back tears as she reacts to our then reporting.
We hear about all this money that is going through certain tribal people's hands, but it's not getting to our people. So that's what I'm upset about.
To hear how much money that's coming in is heartbreaking, because my grandma has a home on the reservation and there's no insulation in her house. And here you have this millionaire making money off of us, and we're here begging for help. All of the things that were created for us, we don't benefit from. All of this money that you see, we don't benefit a single dime from any of that. Why do we have to suffer? Why do our elders have to not have health care? Why is our people struggling when we could be millionaires, you know?
My personal opinion is that they all need to be taken out.
Tracy Lent there crying, wondering why they haven't utilized the program themselves, but instead have been taken advantage of by fraudsters. And it makes me wonder how many tribal members within Chenega or Cherokee are aware of the contracts being facilitated by Mike Montgomery and Ricky Longhurst. And would the people in Alaska have a similar reaction to the Susanville Indian Rancheria? I'm sure we'll find out in the wake of this episode. Stay tuned next Tuesday on The Inside with James O'Keefe as we begin the crusade on the biggest story we've ever done. And please donate to Citizen Journalism Foundation at o'keefemediagroup.com. Tax-deductible donations to make this work possible and to help defend the rights of our undercover journalists. Thank you. All right, let's talk healthcare, because the system is a total mess. Do you really trust your insurance company? You're paying outrageous premiums, and months later, the bills still keep coming. Confusing networks, denied claims, surprise fees, now rates they're saying might go up 20% or more. And did you know that medical debt is the #1 cause of bankruptcy? Those are some of the many reasons why I suggest switching from traditional health insurance to Impact Health Sharing. Impact Health Sharing is a powerful health sharing community that takes the middleman and the corporate profit-driven bureaucracies out of your healthcare and puts the power back in your hands. You can save up to 50% and get clear costs, real savings, and no woke nonsense. You can pick any doctor, no surprise bills, 24/7 telehealth, maternity support. Take control of your healthcare before the system decides for you. Go to impactomg.com to learn more and get your free quote in seconds, or call 855-378-6777 now. That's impactomg.com, impactomg.com. Impact Health Sharing, built differently.